game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Driving around the Black Hills looking for a quick and easy stop to fix your cravings? Why not try Black Hills Coffee Cabin? Black Hills Coffee Cabin is the gateway to Hill City, serving the best specialty drinks in the Black Hills, like Dark Canyon Coffee branded espresso, as well as offering house-made pastries and breakfast burritos. We also have a variety of non-coffee drinks, including smoothies. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Conveniently located at 23828 Highway 385 as you enter the heart of the Black Hills. That's Black Hills Coffee Cabin in Hill City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
No. The big news of the day happened in the Mile High City, where the Denver Nuggets fired head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth with just 3 games remaining in the regular season. Kroenke Sports Entertainment Vice Chair Josh Kroenke on why the move was made now.
We were going to be changing these roles at the end of the season. From that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can.
The Nuggets are on a 4-game slide right now, and while they're in the 4th spot in the West, they're just a half game away from possibly being as far down as the 8th spot. Assistant David Adelman will serve as the team's interim head coach for the rest of the season. Day baseball, Mets on top, and the Marlins 6-2, playing in the 6th inning in Queens, while the Guardians and White Sox are scoreless in the 7th. Tigers beat the Yankees 5-0. Shedeur Sanders to have a top 30 visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers Thursday. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Tuesday edition of the program. We're ready. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. It is always a great day in South Dakota. How are you? Here we go. The Nate Brown Show is back on. Remember, you can watch the show live on Twitter right now. Welcome in if you're watching at Nate Brown Show. Yes, you can follow the show and watch us live at Nate Brown Show on Twitter, and YouTube channel is up and live as well. The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. A lot of ways you can access the program every afternoon drive. Let's get popping here on South Dakota Sports Talk Show with some great guests across the country, some final college basketball reaction and all the good stuff. Couple of questions of the day. We do this show have a little conversation, have some thought-provoking sports talk for your Tuesday afternoon and get you a part of the conversation as well. Let's look at the guest lineup on the way tonight. We'll go to Rocco Miller. He was at the game last night in San Antonio. He's on tonight, national college basketball analyst and bracketologist. What does Rocco have to say about Houston now giving that game away in the end? I thought it was tough going. I took Florida. Yesterday on the show, I said it's going to be Florida. I was thinking as that game progressed, this is tough. Florida's down 12, biggest deficit of the tournament. Houston's defense, it's a grinder. Clayton Jr. is just struggling. So I thought Florida was done, and they come all the way back. Rocco Miller covering it last night, bracketeer.org. Rocco Miller live, straight ahead. We'll go to James Merlat tonight. He covers the Nuggets in Denver. Denversports.com, part of 104.3 The Fan. James Merlat's on tonight. Over to Des Moines, Iowa. Let's get some reaction from Keith Murphy, great radio guy down there for many years now, WHO-TV. Keith Murphy talking Hendo to Drake, just got introduced yesterday. Keith Murphy on the way tonight. And national college football writer John Bryce is in. FootballScoop.com. Want his take on Sacramento State, jump into the FBS and more. John Bryce is in. FootballScoop.com. Haven't had John for a while. Got to ask him about his Atlanta Braves. I don't want to go there, John, but I got to go there. It's the Tuesday show, the Nate Brown Show. Get you on 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. The Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline for you. Barron's Wilson text line. Another way you can be part of the program. We got text coming in on the text line, 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. There's the number. That's the Barron's Wilson listener text line. Welcome in. Quick reaction to last night. And I'm not going to go the way like everybody's going. Was it just me? And I want the guys that watched the game last night. I need the guys that watched that game last night. Is it just me, or was that a knockdown, drag-out? The intensity was off the charts. The defensive effort was off the charts. How did you not enjoy that game last night? I mean, I want the guys that actually watched the basketball game, though. How did you not enjoy? I'm seeing crusty complainers online last night and the whole thing. And, I mean, I guess we just all complain online these days. Anyway, they're complaining about the offense, that was a grinder. It was a tough... I love basketball. And that game right there, I didn't have any dog in the fight. My Dukies got bounced. I was frustrated, so I took Florida as is. But I didn't have an emotional aspect into that thing last night. But I'm just going to tell you, I was in that thing last night. I was in that game last night. So I guess it's just what we prefer. Everybody always tells me on this show, I don't like the NBA anymore because it's offense, it's no defense, it's no effort, they don't start playing till the playoffs. Okay, so I expect last night you should have watched that game and you should have loved every second of that thing. I mean, I loved every second of that thing, and my Dukies were out of it. But I thought last night's college basketball championship was really, really good. And if you just watch basketball a lot and you see how tough it was on the interior last night. I mean, you better be a dog down there last night. You better be bringing it last night. The defensive effort was unreal. I could care less about scoring in the 90s. I don't need to score in the 90s. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me because I'm a basketball guy. So I appreciate this and I appreciate that. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just love the competitiveness, the effort, the intensity, the stakes. I mean, it was high-level stuff last night. So I'm not going to be the guy that complains. I saw people complaining about this is a dog of a game. This is a dog with fleas. Come on. This is basketball. You can't have it both ways. The NBA's too soft. The NBA's too much offense. The NBA's too much threes. No defense. Last night was the real deal. That was the real deal last night. And then we complain about that because it's a defensive struggle. That was real basketball last night. That was real basketball. You couldn't ask for a better game. UConn last year blew away in the national championship. They won that thing by 20. Well, that was ridiculous. Last night, close, intense, effort, defense, really, really good stuff. Down to the wire. Great stuff. Let's see. Listener text coming in. Houston choked that game away last night. Houston choked that game away. Well, I don't know. I mean, what was the bigger choke? Duke on Saturday night or Houston last night? I would argue it's Duke. Duke was the favorite. Duke had all the offensive talent. Duke had the lead, the whole thing by 8, 9, 10, 12 points. That game last night felt like Florida was still there. They were still hanging around. I guess it was a choke. I'm not going to put that into the category of the Duke situation Saturday night. The Duke deal was a tragedy. That was a big big whiff in the final 45 seconds. They were up by 6 with 45 seconds left. Now, Houston, the choke deal was they didn't get one shot in their last 2 possessions. They didn't get a shot in the last 2 possessions, and you have to. I mean, you got to provide a little bit of, well, hey, at least we got a shot, and they didn't get a shot the last 2 possessions. So that was a killer. Lister text, 3 possessions, 1 minute left, and Houston couldn't get a bucket. Total choke job. They couldn't get a bucket. They didn't even get a shot the last 2 possessions. I know that. Not a shot off. Lister text coming in on the game last night. What do you say? I mean, I do want I want the guys that watched the game last night, somebody to tell me, yeah, that was a rough game. That wasn't a great basketball game. That was a great basketball game. And I get it. My wife got home from running the kids around. She got home later. She goes, this is low scoring. And so it's there, but the game is that game was the real deal. Lister text from you. I could give a rip about college basketball, but the game last night was cinematic basketball. That was exactly what you want from a title game. Great basketball on both sides. I'm with you on that. So I just want to start with that. I wanted to start with last night. You can't have one category of basketball fans saying, this is, the NBA is no good anymore. And then the smart guys try and tell you, no, the NBA is so elite. The scoring is so elite. It is. But I can like both. Do I like the NBA a lot better in playoff time later this month? Oh, big time. But that's what I'm saying. The folks that watched last night, they don't appreciate great basketball, even though it was in the 60s. That was still a great basketball game to me. I'm not going to poo-poo that at all. I thought it was really good stuff. And it wasn't like throw it into the low post and all of that stuff. It was real basketball. They missed some shots early on, so it was butterflies, and they weren't very efficient. But I wanted to see a war. I want to see a battle. When I want to watch an intense title game, I want to see a battle. That was absolutely a battle. So I give the game last night an A. I don't care about the lack of offense. I give it an A. It met the moment in a big way. And Florida wins it. Would Florida have been able to beat my Dukies? That's for another day. Let's get to the Denver Nuggets thing. Okay? Now, this Denver Nuggets thing, I don't want you to say, I don't care about the Nuggets. Hang on here. This is a bigger picture thing that I think we can look at intellectually in sports and say, do we have a problem going on in today's sports world where we can fire coaches? I don't care whether it's the NBA or any sport. They can fire coaches like this. Michael Malone gets fired today. I mean, I'm getting ready for the show today, and the Nuggets fire Michael Malone? I was like, what are we doing? There's 3 games left. Well, they've been on a losing streak. I don't care. Well, he doesn't have the locker room. I don't care. I mean, how does this type of stuff happen? And I'll tell you how it happens. I'm going to answer this question today. I'm going to tell you how this happens. The players control everything. And I love Jokic. I don't think he's like a big drama guy at all. If you follow the Nuggets and you watch Jokic, he plays hard, he's elite, he's just unbelievable. And I think he's there to do his job, no drama, none of that stuff. So this isn't I'm a diva, but there must be problems within that team. There has to be problems within that team. Soft problems. I don't know if that's Russell Westbrook can't get along with guys and they think Mike Malone's too fiery. He's fiery. I've watched Nuggets games courtside. I went to a Nuggets game last year at this time. Second row. I loved watching Michael Malone coach because he actually coached. He actually held guys accountable. He tried firing guys up. I was watching a regular season basketball game. This was last year. I was second row. I was right there. You could see the fire, the intensity. I want that out of coaches, but guess what? A lot of the players, and you guys know this, the NBA players, they could give a rip. They don't want that out of coaches. You know how Houston last night has Kelvin Sampson, and he yells, and he's this, and he's that. And those players, I think, liked that. That's why Houston's tougher than a $2 steak. I don't think they're like great, but they're tougher than unbelievable. And they like guys like that. You know what we have, though, in a lot of sports today, to me, we have players that hate that. We have players that just can't stand that. And then we have owners for the Denver Nuggets, the Cronkies. I mean, the Cronkies know sports. They're all over the place. And they're going to fire Michael Malone because they think this is going to help the Denver Nuggets go on a playoff run or something? So the Nuggets have lost 4 in a row. And Jamal Murray, who's their other star, if you don't follow the Nuggets, Jamal Murray's their other star outside of Jokic. Murray's been out 5 straight games. And so you put 2 and 2 together. You don't have Jamal Murray. He's the other star. You got to have him. He's your ball handler on top of it. He kind of runs the offense. Him and Jokic are unbeatable in the 2-man game. And so you don't have Jamal Murray the last 5 games. You lose 4 in a row, and Michael Malone's going to take the fall. He's just not a good coach all of a sudden. He brought the Nuggets from obscurity, and he brings them into a title. His overall record, 471 and 327. He's a winning coach, and we try and think, well, these owners, these people, they know what they're doing. They're just trying to do stuff for the players. You say, well, this day and age, you got to have the player relationships. And let me ask you that question. What's the best way? How do you survive as a coach today? How do you survive as a coach today? You got to make the players happy, but then you've got to win. I mean, you got to win. So which one is premium? What is premium today? I'm going to actually ask. I'm going to throw that out as our question of the day tonight. 605-720-1067, the Barron's Wilson text line. If you want to participate on the Nate Brown Show question of the day, I would appreciate you voting in this. And it's not just the Michael Malone Nuggets thing. It's not just that. This is a sports culture thing. What is the best way to survive as a coach in today's sports culture? Because it's not just the Nuggets. Because guess what? After Michael Malone goes down today, if it's all about winning, look at this. 4 of the last 6 coaches to win the NBA Finals are not with their team they won with. You got that stat. 4 of the last 6 coaches to win the NBA Finals are no longer with their team. They just don't have it anymore. They don't have the players. They don't have the locker room anymore. This is the type of bogus stuff where we let people get control of stuff. And I'm telling you, I think the script is you better make the players happy, and you also need to win. And I'm going to put the premium. I think the players have the control. Michael Malone, good coach for the Nuggets. Are you telling me he's no good anymore? Won a championship 2023. The Nuggets are 47-32 in a good Western Conference. 47-32. They didn't have Jamal Murray the last 5 games. And so now he's out because he wants to try and hold guys accountable. He did a press conference a month ago after they lost to Portland and said, these guys don't look at film. They don't watch themselves. They don't watch the minutes. They don't care. And I have a feeling Mike Malone's probably right. He's not blanketing everybody. He's saying there's guys that don't care. So what is he supposed to do then? What's the best way to survive as a coach in today's sports culture? Just make the players happy or just win? My question of the day. I want you to vote on that as I go to the first break on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Best way to survive as a coach in today's sports culture. You got to make the players happy or you have to win. Those are my 2 choices. It's a tough one tonight. 605-720-1067, the Barron's Wilson text line. I want to know which way you're voting. Listener reaction coming in. Let's see. You just have to coach day to day because eventually your time will come to an end. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. Listener text. Nuggets could extend Jokic another 3 years. Will he take the deal? I don't know. And I don't know if Jokic liked Malone, didn't like Malone. You think the Nuggets ownership had to talk to Jokic and say, hey, we're going to do this? Because he's the man. He is the foundation of the team. You think they had to talk to him? So, I don't know. I love Jokic. Love his mindset. No drama, just plays. But the Nuggets now have thrown themselves into drama city. Firing a coach with 3 games left in the year. Listener text, what are you saying? Coaches need to give players fluffy pancakes so they're happy? Yes, that's what everybody gets a fluffy pancake after the game. No, I think that's what they should implement for the Nuggets. Their first win after this losing streak, fluffy pancakes for everybody. And then it's just like Little League. Everybody's happy. Who's bringing the snacks? Is it going to be Jamal Murray tomorrow? Jamal, you got snacks tomorrow. How about you step up and win? Yeah, we blame coaches. Coming right back with John Bryce as we get going. National college football writer for Football Scoop. Haven't had John on in a long time. Let's get to it next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Spring is here and Splash City is blooming with savings. It's their spring kickoff sale. Your backyard retreat is calling. Imagine relaxing, soaking away the day in a brand new Sundance or Jacuzzi spa from Splash City. During the spring kickoff sale, get 0% financing for 60 months or save up to $5,000 in instant rebates. Plus a free smart tub monitoring system upgrade, a $999 value. Splash City is your #1 water and entertainment specialist. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City today. Rest, relax, enjoy.
Rush fans, the final games of the season are here. Don't miss out. Wednesday, April 9th, the Rush versus Utah at 7:05 p.m., presented by Corey's Point S. Friday, April 11th is Youth Sports Night, sponsored by YMCA. We will celebrate local youth sports and recognize the Rushmore Thunder teams. Saturday, April 12th, step into a world of gaming and excitement with Ready Player One Night, presented by KT Connections. There will also be a post-game warm-up jersey auction with proceeds benefiting Folds of Honor. Tickets at RapidCityRush.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 70. Northerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight. Chance for storms. Lows dip down to about 41. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Highs level off around 63. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 64 degrees.
Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
And welcome back in. We're getting going on a Tuesday. Thanks for being here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show across the great state of South Dakota on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show live. Packed lineup tonight. We will go to Rocco Miller, college basketball analyst. Covered the championship last night. Bracketologist. What do the bracketologists do in the offseason? I'm going to ask Rocco. He covered the championship last night. Bracketeer.org. Rocco's coming up. College football. I mean, this guy's busy all the time, so I know what he's doing. National college football writer. We haven't checked in with him. Footballscoop.com. Your place for the best coverage with John Bryce. John, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, Nate. Always love the chance to be a guest on your show, and appreciate the kind words about Football Scoop. We actually have a new website, so newly redesigned since the last time you and I visited, so encourage all your listeners to go check out the much more user-friendly website that we now have.
Okay, I love that. Footballscoop.com. If you haven't hit it, hit it. So let me do this house settlement thing. I don't think the fans that kind of know college football really get, like, where is this going? We're hearing about payments that are going to be made to players, and it's going to be $21, $22 million, whatever the number is. But now we're in this court case, and a judge says, well, we're going to have to wait and see here. Where is this going? Is it just the court's going to hold it up and eventually it will happen? What do you know?
Yeah, everyone we've talked to indicates that eventually it will happen. There's some who believe that we could know that she will rule in favor of the House settlement by the end of this week. Certainly, a lot of people hope that it's known and in the next phase by the end of April, because it's scheduled to start on July 1st. And frankly, we've talked to numerous head coaches, and we've reported on this, and numerous coaches in general who are planning their scholarships around the revenue distribution, already starting to have language in grant aid agreements that will cover revenue distribution. We know that athletics departments are already trying to find ways to fund the money. If you opt in to the House settlement and it goes forward as proposed now, it's $20.5 million in year one. That's money you have to find somewhere in your budget or come up with. And if you opt in for full participation, now you can opt in and say you're opting in, but that you're not going to be a full participant. And there are a number of schools that are doing that. Far more schools, I believe, are opting in not at the $20.5 million level than there are opting in at the $20.5 million level. But essentially, all of your power conference programs, for the most part, will opt in at the $20.5 million level, Nate.
Do you think the coaches, you talk to coaches, John, when this settlement's settled, $20.5 million is going to be distributed, do you think the football coaches think this is a good thing? This is more under the university control. Is this a good thing?
I think I've joked with you before, Nate, that the only thing most coaches, especially I found this to be the case of football, college or pro, the only thing they like more than winning is control. And so this will put a little bit more control into the actual university and college athletics departments. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it will put the control back in the universities. They're going to have tiers. Basically, you're going to have guys that if you're a role player, you'll be asked to be on scholarship and get revenue distribution or revenue share to the tune of maybe $50,000 or $75,000 a year, depending on where you're at. And if you're the team's starting quarterback and you're at Ohio State or Notre Dame or Georgia or wherever, and you're at the top tier of that thing, then you're going to get the maximum revenue distribution for that school's model. That's why we've written extensively, we've discussed it, and we've visited on your show about it before. The rise of the general manager in college football is becoming a guy or a lady who has to have command of the roster, both the needs, the numbers, and the financial numbers that you're dealing with. So it will give more control back to the universities. And then the big thing that they hope works, we'll see if it doesn't fall before some sort of lawsuit sooner rather than later, is that additional NIL deals outside the purview of the revenue sharing agreement will be vetted by a third party, and that third party has been selected as Deloitte, the massive international accounting firm. And so they're supposed to have to sign off as the neutral arbiter for the NIL deals, but I would suspect that someone challenges that the first time Deloitte says that, no, we don't think your market value is $250,000 to go sign autographs at a used car lot for 90 minutes. And that something similar to that will trigger an additional lawsuit, I believe, and more importantly, so do most coaches and athletics administrators that I've spoken with.
John Bryce joining us, national college football writer, footballscoop.com. He's on Twitter at JohnDBryce1. So here's how I see this breaking out. You tell me if I'm wrong or right here. If I get $20.5 million for my athletic distribution to the players, I see this as a budget item from the AD. The AD has $20.5 million. He tells the football coach, you get this. Here's your budget. He tells the basketball coach, you get this. And then the coaches decide, all right, here's my budget. Here's how I'm going to pay players. Is that accurate? It's a budget process?
Yeah, it's 100% accurate, Nate. And for example, Notre Dame. At Notre Dame, you can bet that the football program is going to have an 8-figure budget to work with for revenue distribution for its football team, and then the men's and women's basketball teams are going to have 7-figure budgets, and then everything else will be very minimal residually distributed revenues amongst the other sports. I can't remember off the top of my head even how many Notre Dame has, but I know, say, Ohio State has 38 sports, I believe it is. Well, Ohio State's going to follow that same model. They're going to, of that $20.5 million, they're going to give roughly $16 million, $15 million to football, and then men's and women's basketball will get 7 figures each, and then whatever minimal revenue is left at that point will be allocated to the next best sport. So at football, you would probably see maybe a handful of hockey players getting some revenue distribution, women's soccer at Notre Dame, men's lacrosse, things like that.
All right, that's interesting. And then for players that don't get any revenue share when there's none left, then here come lawsuits?
Can you repeat that, Nate? My phone cut out, I believe.
When players that don't get any of the revenue share in those non-revenue sports, when they don't get any money, are the lawsuits coming then?
You know, it's basic economics, so I think that the lawsuits are going to have a hard time standing up in that regard. In my opinion, they'll come. There's no doubt that somebody will file suit over inequitable treatment or lost compensation or whatever, and college administrators are concerned about that and cognizant of that. I had one tell me last week, like, hey, it's just different, and it's always been treat everybody the same, but we can't. That's not the reality anymore. And they pointed out that it won't be the reality even in how teams are marketed anymore. Like, you won't see most programs devoting as much time to marketing their baseball team on social media anymore, because that baseball team drives no revenue. And so the more this shifts towards a true business model, the more that the lawsuits are going to have a harder time, because it's not going to be viewed as a Title IX issue. And Judge Claudia Wilkin drove that point home yesterday in her courtroom, and she's in a California courtroom, which are typically viewed as very left-leaning. But it's not going to be a Title IX issue because it's a revenue issue, and there's hard data to back it up. There are TV contracts, most of them public, not all of them. Notre Dame's most recent contract with NBC has not been made public. There's been speculation about its value. But those contracts don't specify we're giving $5 billion over the next 10 years so that we can broadcast Big Ten softball. That's just not the reality.
No, I get it. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out and who's going to get upset about it. John Bryce on tonight, footballscoop.com. You give me your read on Sacramento State, FCS program that hasn't been a powerhouse, John. They're in the Big Sky Conference. They've been okay. Sacramento State said, we're going to go FBS, and their new president announced that, and then nothing really happened. And then just last week he said, I told you we're going, files an application. They want to go in 2026. Sacramento State, do you think that's a smart move? Independent, they don't have a conference, they're going anyway.
No, I don't think it's a smart move because they don't have a conference. They've got a larger alumni base than some just because it's been such a big school, but they don't have a rich heritage at the FCS level, as you noted. And another important factor is that while Brennan Marion is very engaging, very charismatic, and has long been considered one of the fast risers in college football. Oh, by the way, he is a first-time head coach, and you lost your last head coach to Stanford, and he just got fired from there, and he led your program to its best success, and even that was mitigated in the SEC of FCS, which, as you already noted, is the Big Sky. So no, I don't think it's a good move at all. But there are more and more programs out there talking about it. I've visited with multiple FCS head coaches in the past couple of weeks who have told me that they might be eyeing football membership in Conference USA or the Sun Belt or one of those, and they're trying to position themselves to be ready for that. And again, there are FCS football programs that are mid-major basketball programs that are enrolling into the revenue share agreement, again, much below that $20.5 million cap, but they're enrolling, and part of their mindset is we're enrolling now because we want to be prepared to try to go to FBS if the opportunity arises. Again, and some of these programs, I think, have that in mind because they think there's going to be a divide and that there's going to be the Fab 40 or whatever you want to call it, the Super 50 of the biggest college football programs, and then FCS may have some teams absorbed by what's left of FBS. So there's strategic thoughts involved there, but these are programs that have had more success than Sacramento State and have larger alumni bases and more funding in place.
Great stuff from John Bryce tonight. I wanted to get your take on the House settlement. You've been in on that. Really good stuff from you, footballscoop.com. I can't let you go without asking, what are we going to do with your Atlanta Braves here if they continue this stretch?
I would have been disappointed if you didn't ask me because it would have robbed me of the chance to tell you that, or to remind you, I've been calling for the firing of Brian Snitker almost as long as I've been doing your radio show. So Ron Washington remains my manager, even if he's the manager of the California Angels. The Braves have to get healthy. They didn't invest in their bullpen in the offseason. That's been exposed, and you can't rely on old pitchers coming off career years to have career years yet again. So
do you
anyway,
think
there you are.
Snitker
That's
gets
the
fired?
Braves issues.
Do you think he gets
nutshell.
fired, John? Do you think? I mean, kind of like if this continues.
Say that again. Do I think Snitker will retire?
Gets fired?
Oh, I don't think he would get fired. Not at this rate. But he's already basically publicly said that this will be his last year, and so might he retire sooner rather than later? If they continue to go 1-9 every 10 games, then yeah, I would think and hope that he would retire much sooner than later.
My Cubbies are ahead of your Braves for now. Okay, we'll check in with you here after another month. John Bryce, footballscoop.com, national writer. You want the good stuff, hit it there. Brand new site set up, footballscoop.com. John, appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Man, I appreciate you, Nate. Appreciate the friendship, buddy.
Thanks a lot. John Bryce on tonight. Footballscoop.com, national college football writer. Covers college football as good as anybody. John Bryce on tonight. Okay, so you heard about what's happening here. This is under the radar. You know, March Madness has took over everything. The college sports house settlement case is sounding like it's going to be settled this week. So that means, through all the legalese, the athletic departments that have opted into this house settlement are going to get $20.5 million that they have to pay the players. They're like, nobody's going to give it to them, but they're going to have to come up from the revenues, the media revenues, all that stuff. $20.5 million are going to have to be paid to the players each year. And so how that process goes, if you've been through a budget in a university, the AD gets a budget from the president, and then the AD has to decide, okay, is this going to work? I presented this budget to the president. Yeah, okay, here it is. We decided the president's good with the budget, the AD. And then the AD sends it to the coaches and says, here's your budget for your sport. Well, now just add in millions of dollars that you have to distribute to the players. So that's how that's going to work. Football coach, you get $15 million of the 20. $15 million for your team. Good luck. So instead of the NIL separate collectives doing all of that, offering here, offering there, it's going to be brought in-house. And so how's that going to go? My guess is whoever doesn't get money is going to go, I deserve money. I'm going to file a lawsuit. This is unfair. And I've always cautioned that. Now in the business side, do you want to be playing college sports if you're a swimmer, or do you want them just to eliminate your sport? So how are you going to play that? There will be lawsuits. I'm a swimmer. I need money. Well, no, it's non-revenue generating. We're not going to be part of the settlement. I need this. And then universities may have to decide, do we want those sports, those Olympic sports? So careful. Rocco Miller is in next. He covers college basketball. What does he say about the season? The championship last night. Rocco Miller, national college basketball analyst. He was at San Antonio's championship last night. He's next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Andersen is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Is Deadwood's exclusive home of the Roaring Riches Jackpot. Just be actively playing your favorite slot machine with your club card engaged for your chance to win. The Roaring Riches Jackpot starts at $7,500 and must hit by $10,000. Plus, you can keep up to the minute on the current Roaring Riches total on your Cadillac Jax mobile app. Roaring Riches has already paid out $2 million. Anyone at any time on any spin. You could be the next to win. Only at Cadillac Jax Gaming Resort.
Heritage Home Lending in Rapid City is a proud supporter of high school sports. Heritage Home Lending is your locally owned mortgage brokerage, specializing in VA home loans. At Heritage Home Lending, you get to work with local people, offering competitive financing for purchasing and refinancing. Heritage Home Lending is committed to helping our service members and veterans with specific expertise in VA home loans. For all your home loan needs, work with a local company that you can trust. Get started at heritagehomelending.sd.com.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Highmark Credit Union. Ready to hit the road this season? How about a new ride with a new car loan at unbeatable low rates for qualified borrowers? At Highmark Credit Union, you can drive away with low rates, flexible terms, and the freedom to make every trip to Highmark or on the road feel like a spring vacation. So, what are you waiting for? Spring into action today with a car loan from Highmark today. Visit highmarkfcu.com or stop by and see us. The road to savings starts here. We'll make it happen. Terms and conditions apply. Visit highmarkfcu.com for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
This is the Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to the Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Hey, good stuff tonight. Thanks for being here. Tuesday program, the Nate Brown Show across South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Stream us right now on X at Nate Brown Show. You can watch the show live. Welcome in studio at Nate Brown Show on X. Keith Murphy's coming up from Des Moines. Eric Henderson leaves South Dakota State, goes to Drake. Keith Murphy covering it. Eric Henderson going to Drake and was introduced yesterday. We'll talk to Keith Murphy, WHO Des Moines. James Merilatt covers the Nuggets. DenverSports.com. He's straight ahead from Denver. Michael Malone gets the axe today. That's just wild. Wild. Rocco Miller's in tonight. He covered the championship. He was there last night. I loved the game last night. I don't know if I'm the only guy, but people were complaining. No offense, no this. I loved the game last night. College hoops analyst, Bracketeer.org. Rocco Miller on tonight. Rocco, good to have you again. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nate. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a tremendous game, I thought, as well. And there were some things I thought I saw down the stretch that maybe weren't as accurate as I first thought upon like a closer film review. And also just having the luxury of Todd Golden being my former neighbor in San Francisco and being invited to the late after party where we were talking about the game till 5 a.m. last night. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that your show starts a little later because I didn't have much of a voice this morning. But what a night, like what an unforgettable experience. I've been able to build a relationship with the entire staff over the years, whether they're in San Francisco, back when they were at Columbia. And so much of that, like, foundational stuff not only went into, like, the analytics of those last 5 minutes of the game, but they also did in the Texas Tech win. They also did in the UConn win. Basically, their three most dangerous games, the root of all their formula, what they call around the Bay Area nerd ball, paid off, and they were ready and excited about those opportunities to play late game situations. Houston, of course, finished the game with 5 straight empty trips, which changed everything. And I think Florida led for a total of like 60 or 70 seconds the entire game. But they depend on the numbers, and that's how they built the roster. I think they're the first national champion to not have a top 100 high school recruit.
Wow,
which should be impossible. Todd said that in his speech last night. So anyway, I'm just all sorts of fired up for them as people. I would have been just as happy for Houston as well, because we know everything Ralph Sampson's given to the game and how great this Houston program is. But you can only have one champion, right?
What do you credit, Rocco, since you know these guys, and it sounds like you're dialed in there? A lot of people don't know Todd Golden. They was like, from San Francisco to Florida? Where did this guy? What do you credit with his rise to the national title?
Well, I think the guy just eats, sleeps, and breathes basketball. First of all, he was a good player at St. Mary's back during his time. I guess that was 17 years ago now. But he was a starter, big-time contributor for the Gales, really good program with Randy Bennett, obviously, and then got pretty much into coaching pretty quickly. 1 year he was a GA under Bruce Pearl, and I think, a lot of that stuff he learned under Bruce helped him get eventually into the SEC, and I think helped him in both those wins over Auburn later this year. But overall, he eventually ends up on a staff with Kyle Smith at Columbia. A lot of great coaches on that staff. Mike Magpio, who's the new coach at Fordham. Kevin Hovde, who will be the new coach at Columbia, funny enough, among other just genius, the way they think about basketball analytically. And he really just wants to, he gets out there and still plays. I think he hit 4 half-court shots last night before the game started because he always takes half-court shots with the players. And I've been to their practices. He runs with the guys. He just wants to be one of the guys. He empowers his staff to be just as involved in the decisions as himself. And he just wants to be strategic and smart in kind of every way the program is built. And it makes it really, really fun for the players. And I think that's why this team this year, obviously they're very, very talented. He had, Will Richard, Walter Clayton is crazy good. Elijah Martins is very skilled. And all those front court guys were major contributors. But the most important part was they were all no ego. They were all no ego, and they just loved to be around. They would rather be hanging out with each other than doing their own thing, and that's a really hard thing to create when you're the SEC level.
Rocco Miller, great stuff, college hoops analyst, Bracketeer.org, and bracketologist. He was at the game last night. What was your takeaway when they got down 12? I was a little worried. I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I was looking at it. It's like I picked Florida. I'm going, this looks good. This doesn't look good. They were struggling shooting. They were struggling. What did you think when they got down 12 against the Houston defense?
Yeah, it was definitely not looking great. In fact, when the technical foul came on the staff, I think that put them down by 8. And from where I was sitting, I thought it was on Todd Golden, but I found out later it was on the staff. And they still never got a real clear explanation. That was kind of a wild moment. And I was just thinking in my mind, I'm there not really rooting for Florida or Houston. Like I said earlier, I think it would be a great story either way. But I would have been sad if Todd gets technical and cost his own team, 2 critical points to come back to haunt him. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, they were down 9 with under 3 minutes to go with Texas Tech, and did some amazing analytical things on defense. In that game, they fouled J.T. Toppin purposely, who's a low 60% free throw shooter. He bricks the front end of a 1-and-1. They fouled the wrong guy the next time in that game. Darian Williams bricks the front end of a 1-and-1. On both of those transitions, they go down and hit a 3, and all of a sudden they're down 3, and there's still over 2 minutes left. I think that's why everybody left that Texas Tech game in the Elite Eight in shock. But they just have the ability, like everybody thinks kind of like the staff. So last night, down 12, I didn't know how it was going to play out, but I just knew these guys were not going to go away, and they were going to continue to fight, one TV timeout to the next, because that's how NCAA basketball is played, especially in March Madness. And when we got down to 2 minutes, they're in a tie game, and they purposely fouled Tugler. And I don't think the common fan probably knew that, but I did.
Right.
Tugler's only a 54%er. He goes 1 for 2, which they're totally fine with. And then they're just climbing back in possession by possession, and nothing bigger than the Cougars finishing with 5 empty trips. Obviously, very bizarre ending, but I thought it was also, from Florida's perspective, really good defense by Walter Clayton Jr. to just kind of get him out, to leave his feet, which, kind of created the chaos. But you got to give Florida's defense and their confidence, and they're just so confident in late game situations throughout, not just that night, but throughout the whole year, going back to the win over North Carolina in December is where that all started.
Their defense was really, really good. I thought the game was outstanding. I love the intensity, the effort, the high stakes. It was great last night. Rocco Miller on. A couple more. I'll let you run. I know you got to go. But is there going to be ever a dominant program year in, year out in college basketball anymore? Meaning Florida's going to invest. They got Golden. They got players. Are we going to have a different Final Four every year, a different champion for sure with the way college basketball is?
I just don't think anything's for sure. They're still blue bloods. Like, you could argue Duke definitely had the most pros this year. And, I think they were the clear number one coming into the weekend. They had a 14-point lead over Houston. That was a pretty big choke job. I mean, even though Houston was amazing from their perspective, they did what they always do. They never gave up, and they found a way to win. But I thought Duke, there were some possessions they had where a little bit better coaching, a little bit more organization, they easily win that game. And then who knows what happens yesterday, right? But they had so much talent at Duke. And I think Auburn, they were also very loaded. I do think I get where you're coming from. That I think at the SEC, Big 10, Big 12 level, those three leagues are by far ahead of the rest. And I think they're competing kind of throughout the conference now in terms of, how much they can spend. So, like next year we could have like Arkansas up there. We could have, a middle of the pack Big 10, like maybe an Iowa or somebody come up. So that makes it a little exciting, but it is kind of among the powers. But I think places like Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, if they hit it right, they've got the cachet still to build something that would maybe be able to do a back-to-back type of model. So I don't think it's impossible.
Okay, while I have you on the Nate Brown Show tonight, Rocco Miller, you were at the Florida celebration. What was the thing we need to know about your biggest takeaway from the celebration last night till 5 a.m?
I mean, just how like unbelievably close everybody is, and it's genuinely like a family feel, and it was so cool because you have like John Andrzejczyk's the new coach at Campbell, Kevin Hovde's the new coach at Columbia starting like today, and their press conferences are coming up I think tomorrow. So you got those guys getting sent out with the national championship and then sent into a new job at a mid-major level, and then you have Kyle Smith in the room, who was kind of the top of this tree, the one that coached Columbia, San Francisco. Now he's at Stanford. Took Washington State to only their 7th all-time NCAA tournament last year. And and Mike McPhail, who's going to be at Fordham next year, among others. It was just such a collection of really, really sharp coaches, but they all kind of coach with the same formula, build their roster with the same formula. And it was just a celebration of all of it working at the highest level. And just a lot of bear hugs, a lot of good champagne, just awesome stuff all around. I'll never forget last night.
What a run by Florida! They deserved it. I don't know how it would have went with Duke. I think that would have been a great game too, but Florida got through it. Rocco Miller on tonight. Let's try and do it again, man. Enjoy the offseason. Bracketeer.org, college basketball analyst. Rocco, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. Rocco Miller on the Nate Brown Show. That was good stuff. College hoops analyst, bracketologist. His website is bracketeer.org. We'll try and get him every year for college basketball. Rocco Miller, I didn't know he was at the Florida after party with Coach Todd Golden and the whole thing. That's not a bad guy to have. Little insight into the celebration last night for Florida. That's good stuff. My point is saying, is there going to be a different Final Four, a different champion every year? To me, it feels like you aren't going to have the big stretches of Duke, UConn every year. That's me. I feel like those conferences, they're going to battle each other so much with the NIL money, and I guess this revenue-sharing money on top of it. I think there's a lot of really good programs that you're going to see rise here. Would we have a different Final Four next year? Are we going to have a different one? My guess is yes. That's my guess. Duke's not going to get Cooper Flagg every year. But we'll see how that goes. Very interesting. Rocco Miller on tonight. Quick timeout. What is the best way to survive as a coach in today's sports culture? Michael Malone got fired by the Nuggets today. They're going to the playoffs. He's won an NBA title a couple of years ago. The Nuggets say he's out now. What's the best way to survive as a coach? Would you say you just have to make the players happy, or you just have to win? Which one is it? What's the premium? We'll take a look at the question of the day next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Largest selection of spirits, wines, and beers at the best prices today at both Mr. Liquor locations in Rapid City. The big 175 bottle of Absolute Vodka is only $29.99. Get set for Cinco de Mayo with Jose Cuervo Tequila. Save $3 on a handle, now just $35.99. Or Crown Royal on special for $29.99 for the 750 milliliter. Price is good at the new Mr. Liquor 2 next to Walmart off Catron or on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 41. Winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 63, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 41. Tomorrow night, clear skies. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 66.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Second hour, getting ready to go. We're just getting started tonight. Good first guess. John Bryce, National College Football writer on the House settlement case, how revenue sharing is coming to college sports for athletes. $20.5 million a year to athletes. And how's that going to work? That settlement's supposed to be decided this week and launching this summer for this upcoming school season. Rocco Miller, moments ago, he covered Florida, Houston last night, college basketball analyst. He was at the Florida celebration last night. He was neighbors with Florida head coach Todd Golden in San Francisco. Rocco Miller, if you missed some of these interviews, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. The show's right there. So we put it up after every show live, every afternoon drive. Just search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcast. A lot of people on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get it, search The Nate Brown Show, and then you've got this show, if you can't catch us live, all 2 hours. Let's go to the question of the day tonight, then we'll get going in the second hour. Question of the day. Michael Malone gets fired for the Nuggets. Maybe you don't care, but I think it's one of the craziest things that happens these days in sports, that I think he called out players, and it's not like Jokic, but whoever, these guys that don't care. He said that was a month ago. Some of these guys don't care. And so how are you supposed to hold players accountable? They're making millions more than you. The players are in charge. So how do you survive as a coach these days? My question of the day, make the players happy or win? And I think some people have told me, Well, if you win, the players are happy. Have you watched the NBA? Have you seen sports? Not everybody's out for me. I say maybe not everybody, but a lot of people out for me. And so it's like, well, you win, then everybody's happy. No, it's. I believe the players have so much control now in sports. The players have so much control. Michael Malone gets axed as the Denver Nuggets coach. I think it's absolutely wild. Do you say, what's the best way to survive as a coach? Just make your players happy or just win? 74% of you voting just win. 26% of you voting make the players happy. Well, here's the thing. I'm not asking what you want it to be. I'm asking what really matters. And what I'm telling you is I'm with the 26% of you. The best way to survive as a coach is to make sure your players are happy. If Michael Malone wasn't such a hard, if he wasn't, and if he was just easy going, he'd still be there. The players get upset. They've lost 4 in a row. They don't have Jamal Murray. They're making the playoffs. They won an NBA title 2 years ago. And Michael Malone's the problem with the Nuggets. Unbelievable. It's not what we want it to be. Oh, just win. That's what it should be, the way to survive. No, it's make your players happy. Because the players are in control of everything. I believe that. By the way, I interviewed the new Rapid City Stevens head football coach last night. Good discussion. Positive guy, Willie Steven. Really rooting for him to revive Rapid City Stevens football. I'm going to throw out, what's the biggest barrier to turning a struggling high school football program around? What is the biggest barrier to turning a struggling high school football program around? A little South Dakota football talk next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com.
Get ready to save plenty of green sprucing up your spring at Fleet Farm. Save $4 on select bags of Miracle-Gro regular and moisture control potting mix. Get a free $25 gift card with any $100 purchase of Ariat or Ariat Rebar clothing and footwear. And celebrate National Griddle Week with a Blackstone 28-inch griddle bundle for just $279.99. Get all your springtime essentials, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm.
Hop into Easter brunch at the Box Elder Event Center on Sunday, April 20th from 10 to 2. Indulge in a brunch buffet full of favorites like Eggs Benedict, French toast, salmon, beef tips, and so much more. The kids will love the bounce houses, face painting, balloon art, and photos with the Easter Bunny. Heroes save 20%. Military, first responders, and teachers use exclusive coupon codes. Reservations are required. Grab your tickets now at thebox.live.
Get ready to swing into spring at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort with grand prize drawings that will win you a different kind of green. We've teamed up with Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club to bring you grand prize drawings every Friday and Saturday night in April. We'll draw for free rounds of golf, and one lucky winner each night will win a couple's membership. Elkhorn Ridge offers a full resort experience with tennis courts, a pool, restaurant, bar, and one of the nicest golf courses in the area. Swing into spring and take your game to the next level, exclusively at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort in Deadwood.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work, and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Okay, ma'am, just a few rules to follow for your new windows and doors.
Okay.
No washing.
For how long?
Forever. No shades, no furniture within 4 feet of the window.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, I'd stack your furniture in the center of the room, and after the first rain, stay away from the window.
You're freaking me out.
There's no need to be freaked out about installing new doors or windows. Renewal by Anderson has installed over 100,000 windows and doors.
Oh, and don't lean on the window. We wouldn't want you falling out.
I can't lean against the window?
No, you can lean, just don't put any weight on it.
The guy who sold me the windows didn't tell me that.
Don't know. I'm just a subcontractor for the contractor.
Renewal by Anderson has master craftsmen who follow your job from start to finish.
Oh, and the picture window in the back room, it was an odd size, so we made it a little smaller.
How much smaller?
Yeah, about 5 feet smaller.
Yeah, well, now it's not a picture window.
Well, sure it is, if you hang a picture on it.
Brilliant.
Yep, that's why you pay us the big bucks. By the way, I only take cash.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit Acclaim windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Anderson. Learn more at rbarapidcity.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Hope you've had a good day. Remember to yourself, it's always a great day in South Dakota. Yes, what's on tap tonight, the second hour? Brought to you by the new Campfire Bar at Mr. Liquor off Catron Boulevard, Rapid City. The new Mr. Liquor, the biggest liquor store with the best selection. Mr. Liquor off Catron Boulevard, and then drop by the Campfire Bar. It's right inside. They're going to have great patio on nice days like today. 20 local brews on tap at the new Campfire Bar, live sports, Mr. Liquor, South Dakota's best and biggest liquor store off Catron Boulevard. What's on tap tonight? James Merilat's in next. Covers the Nuggets, denversports.com, 104.3 The Fan. Merilat's reaction to Michael Malone, head coach of the Nuggets, goes down. They fire him today. 3 games left in the year. Keith Murphy's on from Des Moines tonight, WHO-TV. Keith Murphy, reaction to Eric Henderson getting the job at Drake, and more. Keith Murphy on tap. Big guest tonight. We'll get you on. 605-720-1067 is our number. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch studio hotline and the Barron's Wilson text line. Same number. Text the show, 605-720-1067. Like this listener on Michael Malone of the Nuggets getting fired today. I think it's ridiculous. Well, that's not what the listener said. He said this. Malone playing everyone long minutes against Minnesota, and then he put everyone on the injury report for the next game against San Antonio is ridiculous. You need to win a game. Malone was a good but stubborn coach, and Booth, the GM, needed to go as well. Well, here's the thing. He played everyone long minutes. It was a double overtime game against the Timberwolves, and Russell Westbrook screwed that up. I mean, how does Michael Malone? Well, he shouldn't have had Westbrook in. Well, who's going to play? They're not deep. They don't have guys. They haven't had Jamal Murray for the last 5 games. So you don't have Jamal Murray. They've lost 4 in a row, and everybody thinks Michael Malone's ruining the team. I mean, this is the Nuggets, and you're going to fire the coach. I'm not in on this. I think the players are having some issues, and Russell Westbrook, wherever he goes, he works hard, he plays hard. Little iffy to have on the team. I would tell you that. So we'll see where it goes. Nuggets. Going to go with David Adelman, the lead assistant, taking over. Michael Malone, just too tough of a guy these days. You can't be too tough as a coach. Let's go to this high school level stuff. So yesterday on this program, I interviewed the new Rapid City Stevens head football coach. His name's Willie Steven. So Willie has taken over a Stevens program who I believe, I've seen athletes over the years. There's athletes. There's success in sports over there. Track to wrestling, they've had some athletes. And so I said, how do you get this football program with the athletes ramped up to meet the East River level? And so there's a lot of questions there. You can catch the Willie Steven interview on the podcast. It's up right now, the Nate Brown Show podcast, so you can listen to Coach. But it got me thinking today, what is the biggest barrier to turning around a struggling football program? I think people say, well, you just need great players. I'm telling you, there's good athletes at Stevens. It's a big school. Well, you need more players. You need participation. Yeah, I think these are points that you can make. But I'm going to throw out some options, and I wonder which one you would think is the biggest barrier. You take yourself. People want to be critics a lot. Well, Stevens should be better than this. They should do this, and they should do that. Everybody's an armchair coach. And so what is the biggest barrier? How would you fix a Stevens football program? You can't fix it overnight. I have my own thought on what a big issue is. And yes, you can throw in participation and numbers. So there's great participation as freshmen. Then it goes down after that. Maybe as they get older, now they're not playing on the freshman team. Do they have a role on the upper level teams? And then guys weed out. So you need big numbers. I get that. What about the off-season buy-in? What about personal player responsibility? The off-season work should be done as a team leadership group. There needs to be players that lead. Well, there's some. There's some. But it's not a team-wide thing consistently enough. And so I understand the off-season work, and you got to have buy-in. You can't show up in August after being at the lake and say, we're ready to go. Let's play some AAA football. But I'm going to tell you a big one to me is the negative mindset. The negative. And Coach, I thought of that last night as I talked to him because he had a positive mindset. And he said, one thing that's not going to fly at Stevens, negativity. It can be glossed over if you just, oh yeah, let's all sing Kumbaya. Everybody's rowing the same way. Row the boat. Yeah, everybody's. The negativity around a program can bring you down. It permeates, I believe, the school culture and the football program. It can get negative all the way into the parents. And then it's, well, we can't do this. You should do this. You should be starting. You should do that. You should be this player, that player. I think Coach has that right on. I don't know how negative it's been. I don't know that. I'm not going to tell you how negative it's been. I don't know the inside. But I think that's a big thing. A negative mindset, we lose, and here we go again. That is a huge barrier, not let's turn this around. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Who's ready to turn this around as a leadership group from the players, the families, the coach? And then you put all of those things. You can't get participation and numbers up if there's a negative mindset. You can't do the off-season work and have buy-in off-season if there's a negative mindset. I really believe, whether it's Stevens or whoever it is, I think it's the negative mindset that can absolutely destroy a program that's already struggling. You tell me what the story is on this. The biggest barrier to turning around a struggling high school football program: participation, off-season work, or a negative losing mindset. 40% of my audience voting for participation numbers is key. 32% says a negative mindset, a huge barrier. 28% off-season work and buy-in in the off-season. So voters are splitting up there. You're splitting up. It's a pretty close vote. I don't know if you can get the participation as high as you want, the off-season work as much as you want, if you have the negative mindset. I really don't. And it's not all about, oh, yippee, wait, oh, yeah, oh. You need some of that. You need rah-rah. You need guys to be positive. And I loved hearing that from Coach last night. It's going to be easier said than done. But he seems like he's here and ready to do it. Willie Steven, the new head coach at Stevens. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Well, I think a major issue, and I have a grandson that's in the program at Stevens, is a lot of the really good players on the football team are playing other sports in the summer, and their coaches won't let them participate in the lifting programs in the summertime and the other off-season, 7-on-7 type stuff too, because they don't want them to get injured and be hurt for soccer or soccer or baseball. And so that's an issue too. Because I asked my grandson, how many kids show up for workouts, and why can't the post-22 kids show up for lifting if they're not playing games that day or whatever the workouts are for weightlifting? And he said that the coach of those other sports tell their parents they don't want them lifting weights when they're playing baseball in the summer or soccer.
That's interesting.
Soccer, but I know that's the case with post-22 baseball.
Well, that's
I don't
interesting.
know about post-320, but
I don't know about that, but you gotta have people going the same way. I mean, you do.
Well,
you need more than just a handful of guys.
And like you said, you can't show up in August, late August, and without doing anything all summer, lifting or 7-on-7 or any of that stuff, and expect to be you're already months behind the other schools.
Yes, and I'm talking consistent. I'm not saying I lifted a little, I showed up to a few 7-on-7s. I'm talking consistent work. I mean, it's got to be hard work.
And we're not getting that.
All right.
He says there's a lifting program, but there's not really anybody that monitors it all the time. So obviously, if your players know somebody's not there on you all the time, they're going to cheat. They're going to not lift as much. They're going to kind of take it easy on themselves a little.
That's that player. That's
a major issue too, Nate. I don't know.
All right, I appreciate you getting on. That's that player responsibility as well. I mean, everybody points to the coach. Coach has to do this. Coach has to do that. Coach has to do this. Where are the players? Where's the leadership of the players and a huge group of the players holding each other accountable, saying, "Are we ready to do this?" Because Stevens is good enough to be a team. Stevens has good enough players to be a team. I believe that. James Merilatt in next from Denver. Denversports.com. His reaction to Michael Malone getting fired by the Nuggets. There's 3 games left, and they're going to the playoffs. James Merilatt, 104.3 The Fan from Denver next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
Building your Black Hills dream? Builder's First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs has you covered. Top quality materials, product expertise, all your building needs in one place for materials and services. Just stop in or start at BLDR.com. That's BLDR.com. Builder's First Source. Build it.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 41. Winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 63. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 41. Tomorrow night, clear skies. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 64.
Looks like winter is hard on your car, especially on the components underneath. The sand and chemicals that make winter driving safer can affect the brakes, chassis, and exhaust parts. While you have your car in for routine maintenance, we'll inspect your car to make sure you are set for spring and summer travels.
Al's D&I Repair on Sturgis Road. Call 348-1447 to set up your appointment.
Building projects can be complex. The risks are great and time is money. Consolidated Construction of Rapid City simplifies the process by being your advocate, guiding you through funding, design, and construction. They manage the players and the schedule and marry the design to your budget so you get the most for your investment. They promise an energizing experience before, during, and after construction. It's not enough that you get a quality building. They pledge you'll experience quality every step of the way. Consolidated Construction. One call to build.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show, Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show is on. Stream us right now on X at Nate Brown Show. We are on X. Follow the show and watch us live every afternoon drive at Nate Brown Show on X. We'll go to Des Moines, Iowa, coming up. WHO Sports. Keith Murphy's in tonight. Talking Iowa. They hire Eric Henderson from South Dakota State. He's the new head coach at Drake. We'll start there. Keith Murphy covering the press conference yesterday. He's coming up. James Marilat's on from Denver, 104.3 The Fan, denversports.com. Place I go a lot, denversports.com. James, good to have you on. News out of the Nuggets, man. What's going on?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shocking day. I mean, I don't think anybody in Denver would have been surprised at the end of the playoffs whenever the Nuggets go out, if they go out, that changes were made. And I think everybody saw that this team was heading in the wrong direction. And Calvin Booth doesn't have a contract at the end of that goes beyond this year. And Michael Malone was a little bit on the hot seat. And Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, like the rumors have been swirling. Nobody saw anything coming, though, with 3 games to go in the regular season. And Calvin Booth is out as general manager. Michael Malone is out as head coach. And the Kroenkes decided, hey, we're going to make these changes anyway during the offseason. Let's at least try to salvage this season and not just throw it away. Maybe too little, too late, but I give them credit for making a tough decision at a really, really tough time. It's nearly unprecedented in NBA history to do it at this late hour, but we'll see if it can kind of jumpstart the team here down the stretch.
Okay, very interesting. So I think you're going to convince me. You're going to convince me tonight, James, that this was the right move. Now, I would get into that, but I have a question of the day, and it's referencing Malone getting fired like this. But here's how I see it in sports these days. Players get mad. Coaches are too intense, like him. He's too intense. Players don't like him. And so what's the best way to survive as a coach in today's sports world? Make your players happy or win? Which is the premium?
It's winning. I mean, winning cures all. I will say Michael Malone did a really good job and a very smart thing in he was, he buddied himself up to Nikola Jokic. He was, the one that he was in the group that flew out to Serbia to give him his first MVP. He basically was the guy that championed Nikola Jokic constantly in press conferences, which not that any of that was undeserved or incorrect, but, he knew that, hey, if that guy's on my side, I've got a job. If that guy's not on my side, I don't have a job. So he was smart about that. And, you're not wrong. It is tough for coaches, especially because players make so much more money than they do. It's a weird power structure. So they have to try to kind of walk that fine line. But, it goes all the way back to John Madden walking away from the Oakland Raiders after 10 years. It's like at some point, your message just becomes stale. People get tired of hearing your voice. You get tired of saying the same things over and over again, and something different is needed. It is a lot easier, and this is what I told people, a couple of weeks ago when I said, hey, if if they get bounced in the first round or don't go to the Western Conference Finals, Malone should be gone, and everybody wants to get rid of MPJ and Jamal Murray. It's a lot easier to change the head coach than it is players, especially in a salary cap sport, especially in the NBA, where it's tough to get stars to come to a place like Denver. And I'm a big believer, Nate, in the scientific method. You change one thing at a time. That's how you figure out what the root cause is. If you change a bunch of things, you have no idea what the issue was. So I think Malone was going to be gone if they didn't have a deep playoff run anyway. The way this team's been playing of late, they've lost 4 straight. They're 11-13 since the All-Star break. They're, teetering on being in the play-in game, which was something that would have been shocking 2 weeks ago to say. I think he was all but gone. So might as well see if David Adelman can right the ship and maybe make a Steve Fisher type run. That's a callback to the late 1980s when he replaced Bill Frieder at Michigan right before the tournament and went on to win the NCAA tournament.
Like that reference. James Merilatt on tonight, denversports.com, talking Michael Malone, head coach of the Nuggets, out today. There's 3 games left of the season, then it's playoff time. So where do you stand on it? If Jokic is the guy, and he is, do you think they had to have a heads up here on Jokic, like, hey, man, we're going to get rid of Malone? What do you think? Because Nikola's not a drama guy. He's not that guy. How did that play out?
Yeah, I don't think Jokic called for the firing, but I would be 100% stunned if he didn't give it a thumbs up before it was done. There's zero chance that they risked alienating the best player in the world by firing the head coach, and he wanted the head coach to stay. Yeah, there may have been some conversations, and he may have been like, hey, I like Coach, I want him to be here, but ultimately he had to sign off on this before it happened. There's just absolutely no way that didn't happen because, there's always this little underlying kind of worry in Denver that one of these summers, Nikola Jokic is going to go back to Serbia. He's going to train his horses. He's going to go rafting down the rivers and just decide, you know what, I've made $400 million. I don't need to go back to the U.S. and play basketball anymore. And we never hear from him and never see him again. So you're not going to risk alienating him. So he signed off on it, but I don't think he went into to Josh Kroenke's office and said, hey, Coach Malone has to go. But certainly he was consulted on this. I would be 100% stunned if that didn't happen.
What do you think Russell Westbrook's, impact on this whole downturn has been?
I think it's been minimal. I think Russell Westbrook gets a bad rap. Like, for what he was brought in to do, he's been way better than expectations. And he's had to play a lot more and more significant minutes and start a lot more than was ever the plan because Aaron Gordon was hurt a lot. Jamal Murray's constantly hurt. So he's put in a position where he's being asked to do things that's not what he was signed for. He signed a guy for 2 years, $6 million. That's chicken feed in the NBA. So he's played a much bigger role than needed or than originally anticipated. And I think he's actually been pretty good. He gets spotlighted when he makes 2 boneheaded plays at the end of the loss to the Timberwolves, when he comes out the next night and has a great game scoring wise, when he's playing with all the backups but makes a couple blunders down the stretch. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's an interesting mix for this laid back group because he's overly intense. And I think they need an overly intense player on this roster. Bruce Brown was that way. KCP was that way. You need some guys that are wired in the 82 games a year. It doesn't matter. You're still going out and playing like it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I think he's that kind of player. So I don't think he had anything to do with Michael Malone's firing. I don't think Josh Kroenke would have said, "Oh well, Russ wants him gone. He's going to be gone." I do think the way he plays may have put a spotlight on the way the other guys don't play. And that's a bit of an indictment on the coach.
Okay, so do you think these guys stop playing well with Michael Malone as the head coach? I mean, Jamal Murray's been hurt 5 straight games. I mean, that's a killer for this type of team.
Yeah, Jamal's lack of being in shape and his injuries, it's chicken and the egg. What causes what, but I don't think it's coincidence that a guy who they talk about having to put stipulations in his contract about being in shape is constantly hurt. That's not a coincidence. I think they had tuned him out. I mean, Michael Malone said it 2 weeks ago at a post-game press conference. He said, these guys aren't listening to me. They don't watch film. Well, that's an indictment on him. And, you can see it at games. I was at a game probably a month or so ago, Nate, had the opportunity to just, as a fan, sit a couple rows behind the bench, and he doesn't do any coaching. They call a timeout. He goes and stands out in the paint and talks to one other assistant. David Adelman talks to the players, who now is going to be the interim head coach. Malone comes over, and as soon as he comes over and sits down, the players start walking off. Like, they just weren't listening to him. They had tuned him out, and Josh Kroenke was smart and right to recognize it and see, like, well, hey, we know where this is going. We can get bounced in a play-in game, or we can get bounced in the first round and then make a change, or we can try to salvage it, because you only have so many seasons and you only have so many playoff runs with Nikola Jokic. That's a finite number. To burn through one of those without trying to save it would be just inexcusable. So kudos to them to at least trying to salvage something out of it.
Good perspective, good insight. James Merilatt joins us tonight. Michael Malone gets axed. You don't see it that often. 3 games left. Playoff team. Nuggets fire Malone. James Merilatt on denversports.com. Hit it there. James, good to have you, man. Thanks for hopping in.
You bet, Nate. Always enjoy it.
Appreciate it. James Merilatt tonight, denversports.com. 104.3 The Fan covering the Nuggets, and Michael Malone gets fired. James said players, they weren't playing for him. They weren't listening to him. That's it. And the Nuggets were going to fire him anyway when they got beat in the playoffs, so why not do it now? Will it have an impact to turn this team around? Let's see. That'll be interesting to watch. 3 games left of the regular season for the Nuggets. Let's go to Iowa. Keith Murphy introducing Eric Henderson yesterday as the new head coach at Drake. What does Drake have? Keith Murphy's reaction to Drake getting the Jacks head man. Keith Murphy, WHO TV Des Moines, next.
This is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Spring is here and Splash City is blooming with savings. It's their spring kickoff sale. Your backyard retreat is calling. Imagine relaxing, soaking away the day in a brand new Sundance or Jacuzzi spa from Splash City. During the spring kickoff sale, get 0% financing for 60 months or save up to $5,000 in instant rebates. Plus a free smart tub monitoring system upgrade, a $999 value. Splash City is your #1 water and entertainment specialist. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City today. Rest, relax, enjoy.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone. Immerse yourself in another world with virtual reality. Play the newest arcade games for the lanes. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Always family friendly fun. Something for everyone. Birthdays and parties. Online at Sprockets.fun. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold I-CAR certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance.
So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog?
What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster!
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Hey Rush fans, it's Rob at the Firehouse Skybox. We are your official home for Rapid City Rush hockey. When the Rush are playing on the road, join other Rush fans at the Skybox and enjoy some great food and cheer on your Rush. We show every Rush away game and we'll have Rush-themed giveaways every road trip. You'll get a chance to win great Rush prizes with the purchase of a drink or food item. The Skybox has the best food and the best Rush game day experience. Go Rush!
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here. Thanks for making the show possible. You guys really do that. We appreciate it across South Dakota. Remember, if you missed some of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We don't repeat guests or record them and play them back. Try and give you new content each time out, from high school to college to the pros, and great guests across the country. So go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Best way to get what you want there, whether it's high school, SDSU, NFL. Right there, search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're on all the platforms, so it's a great way to get it. Good guest tonight. Let's go to Iowa, Des Moines, Keith Murphy. He's a great sports guy in Des Moines. He's a great sports guy. Find him on Twitter at Murphy Keith. If you're not following, great follow at Murphy Keith. Keith, welcome back on. How are you?
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Nate. Doing well.
Okay, man, I appreciate your time. The big news I'll just start with, Drake having to get a new coach, and they decided to get South Dakota State's Eric Henderson. We know Henderson up here. I'm going to ask you about the Drake program. It's one of those programs, hey, we get coaches, they leave. We get another good coach, they leave. How has Drake attracted, it seems like, the right guys?
Well, I think the credit goes to the athletics director, Brian Harden. He has just been on a roll, and I now like Big Ten athletic directors just look to Brian Harden to see, okay, who's he hiring next? Because maybe this guy will be in our conference in a couple of years. He tried to keep Nico Medved, thought he had an agreement, but then Medved bolted to Colorado State. Now he's in Minnesota. Then he goes and gets Darren DeVries out of Creighton, and we know Darren DeVries is now at Indiana, and he hires Ben McCullum out of Division II, and he only stays 11 months because he won 31 games and a couple of championships and goes to the school he grew up cheering, Iowa. So now that's 3 in a row from Drake to the Big Ten Conference. I mean, 3 of the guys coaching the Big Ten Conference this year were coaches at Drake, and Brian Harden just has an eye for talent, and this time he feels like Drake has elevated to the point where he's only looking at head coaches who had experience, and it felt to me like it would be Eric Henderson and that he was targeted from the jump, but because of the success Drake's had and that Drake now views itself as the top program in the Missouri Valley, I think there was quite a bit of interest in the job, but Henderson did prove to be the guy.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about Drake. People say, well, Eric Henderson left South Dakota State, and I wasn't surprised by it. He's an Iowa guy. This is the type of job he wanted. How good of a job is Drake? Is it a really good, funding, resources, salary?
We don't know about the salary. We speculate, but since it's a private institution, we don't get to know what a coach makes. We do know that Brian Harden put together quite a bit more money in NIL and salary incentives when he was trying to talk McCullum into staying and turning Drake into the Gonzaga of the Midwest. But he wasn't able to do that. He did have McCullum pause for a little bit, and the emphasis was, we're a basketball school. It's not a football school. It's a basketball school. You're in Des Moines. It's a great place to live. Does it have the funds of Iowa or Iowa State? Not even close. But they do have a passionate niche of fans, and they show up in St. Louis really strong for the Arch Madness there, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. And they're getting a reputation for being the best program in the Missouri Valley and kind of a coaching cradle here the last 10 years. So I think there's a lot to like about it, but I did hear some of that chatter too, like why would Henderson take this job? Because to some on the outside, it did seem like almost a lateral move.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like the expectations at Drake are huge, meaning you got to make the tournament. Like, those are the expectations. Is this a tough job?
It is a tough job, and Brian Harden joked that Drake needs to lose a little more so they can hang on to a coach. But the challenge, though, is Missouri Valley Conference is viewed as a one-bid league now. So even when Drake reached the championship of the Missouri Valley tournament, and at that point Drake had 29 wins, the bracketologists were still saying if they lost that tournament championship game to Bradley, they were going to be left out of the NCAA tournament with 29 wins. Now, they did win the game, which put them to 30, and then they got the automatic bid. But that's kind of the pressure. It comes down to 3 or 4 days in St. Louis, and you have to win that to get in the tournament. I think they should have been in the tournament anyway, but, Nate, you've been around long enough to know that the networks and the committee, they want the big brands in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Keith Murphy on WHO 13 Des Moines. Find him on Twitter at Murphy Keith. He's here on the Nate Brown Show. Eric Henderson introduced yesterday the new head men's basketball coach at Drake. I want to go to the Iowa thing. So McCaffrey is out. Did it just wear thin there? Long history. What was the breaking point?
He was never a good fit with the fans. Iowa is a place that really puts its arms around Iowa nice, and they like people they want to hang out, have a beer with, and McCaffrey just wasn't a guy that liked to go work the room or sign a bunch of autographs. He didn't really do any media appearances to speak of the past 5 or 10 years, or if he did, he only went to select media that he saw as being friendly or being pro-Fran McCaffrey. The criticism got louder and louder that he had never in 4 jobs been to a Sweet 16, and the Iowa drought continued his entire 15 years, never got out of the first weekend despite National Player of the Year, Luka Garza. So he had above average success, and you could make a case for keeping him, but fans started voting with apathy. They started trying to force the athletic director's move by not giving to men's basketball NIL, by not buying season tickets. They averaged 5,000 in a 15,000-seat arena this season, and many people not only didn't use their tickets, they didn't even give them to somebody else to use. So the paid attendance was way above what the actual attendance was. So it just got to the point where fans, at a time where money means more than ever, were saying, we're done with this guy. We need to move on, and that's ultimately what Beth Getz decided to do. He was above average, but he just didn't connect with the fan base. And you can turn off the fans, or you can be a jerk like Bobby Knight was at times. You can be a Bill Belichick, but if you're going to be that kind of person, you got to win enough. And he didn't win enough to turn off the fans. Many of them. He had his defenders, but the majority of them were tired of him.
Well, I want to get your read. Where's Iowa and Iowa State at when it comes to NIL? Do you think they're in great shape?
I think Iowa, with the move to Ben McCullum, has stepped up its NIL game quite a bit. There's more money available now, but it's not going to be at the top of the Big Ten or even the upper half like Darren DeVries is getting reportedly $10 million for his roster at Indiana. Iowa can't compete with that, but it is in the millions, and it is going to be up considerably from what Fran McCaffrey had to deal with, which we were told was around $1.5 million. But for the reasons I previously stated, they just couldn't get it up without changing the coach. They couldn't get those funds up. At Iowa State, TJ Otzelberger coaches more of, the pieces fitting and finding the right pieces, but they're starting to have to deal with NIL pressures too. Even guys that aren't in the transfer portal this weekend, they had this deal where starter Josh Jefferson, who's not even in the transfer portal, supposedly got a really big offer from an SEC team, and then Iowa State had to put together some funds to keep him happy and make him not stay. He wasn't trying to leave, but when it's life-changing money, you got to consider it.
Yeah.
So they upped his offer, but then you know what happens then, that, you know, the guys who are also loyal and sticking around, they feel like they should get more money too. So the toothpaste is out of the tube, but this is just absolutely a mess, and most people I know are completely turned off by it, but we're still watching.
Yeah. Last one, I'll let you run Keith Murphy on tonight. How big is year 2 with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? Paige Becker's going to get drafted here this month. You got Beckers going in. You got Caitlin Clark year 2. How big's the WNBA this season?
I think it's going to be bigger than ever because she moves the needle like no one else in sports right now. We saw that with the women's championship ratings coming in and falling by 10 million, and the difference between last year with 19 million and this year with 8 million viewers in the same time slot. There's just no one that attracts eyeballs to women's basketball like Caitlin Clark. And last year, she got off to kind of a slow start. I think she was physically and mentally exhausted, but we saw her reach another gear as the season went on. And that Fever team is pretty loaded.
Yeah.
And they're on national television 41 out of 44 games. And Paige Beckers, as you said, and some of the other big stars that are in the league, Asia among many others, I think there is going to be more interest than ever, and she, of course, is a big part of that.
Keith Murphy on tonight. Murph and Andy is the show. Find that, WHO Sports. Keith, good to have you. Thanks for hopping in. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Nate. You take care.
Thanks a lot. Keith Murphy on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Find him at WHO13 Des Moines. He's on Twitter at Murphy Keith. And great sports guy down there. Had a long-time sports radio show and now does it online. Murph and Andy. Keith Murphy on tonight from Des Moines. Reaction to Drake picking up Eric Henderson. All right, who's hot and who's not? So speaking of ratings in college basketball, how big were the ratings last night? Houston, Florida. How big were the ratings last night? A good one? Also, the college baseball game that was played today that you never had a clue you needed to know about. Just wait for this.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Get ready to save plenty of green sprucing up your spring at Fleet Farm. Save $4 on select bags of Miracle-Gro regular and moisture control potting mix. Get a free $25 gift card with any $100 purchase of Ariat or Ariat Rebar clothing and footwear. And celebrate National Griddle Week with a Blackstone 28-inch griddle bundle for just $279.99. Get all your springtime essentials, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm.
I was the cool dad. My kids wanted me to take them to the mall. I didn't think anything about doing it in front of them, even though I knew it was illegal. Then my oldest started driving. Like father, like son. Gotta read that text right now. But he took a life, and now his is shattered too.
Addiction has many faces. Texting and driving when you know it's life-threatening and illegal can be one of them. Take back control. Put the phone down.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 41. Winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 63, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 41. Tomorrow night, clear skies. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 64.
All right, we're talking with Britt Wicked at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Right now, it's baseball season, and one thing I know with baseball, I hear about this overuse shoulder injury.
It's something that we see a lot clinically. Repetitive motions place ourselves at an increased risk for sustaining an injury, especially if it's a movement that hasn't necessarily been done a lot previously.
And one thing, some people say, well, you just have to rest, but not all the time.
Yeah, so it's good to take a break in a sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing at all. If you're experiencing symptoms like that and having soreness with throwing in particular, that's a good time to be seen by a physical therapist to try to assess the root cause of your symptoms. You could have weakness in the rotator cuff. We could have some shoulder instability. There's a lot going on with throwing, so it's important to have that thoroughly assessed to get you back on the road to recovery.
Get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 1 bomb, 50, want to get 250 here, 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Thanks for listening every afternoon drive. We appreciate it on Fox Sports Radio. Also, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's there, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you subscribe to the show. You've got every live show and then the archive shows as well. We're not annoying. We don't post stuff constantly. So subscribe to the show and then you don't miss us there. The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Let's get into it. Who's hot and who's not every night at this time. Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch in Sioux Falls at 3809 East 10th Street. Also in Brandon, and then 2 locations in Rapid City. Remember the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet, locally owned and operated. Pizza Ranch with the Fun Zone Arcade. Get to it tonight in our Who's Hot and Who's Not. Let's take a look here. How about the ratings from last night? So here's where we're at. You got Houston, Florida last night. I'm thinking the ratings are going to go down a touch. If it was Duke, Florida, that's a biggie. That's a hugie. This one was still big. Came out this afternoon. Men's NCAA championship last night, up 22% from last year. If you remember last year, UConn just won in a blowout. So that's part of it. It was a blowout. Up 22% from last year, but here's the big one. Highest average audience for the national championship since 2019. Big game last night, Houston, Florida. As I said, it was a great game. It was a knockdown drag-out. I love that game. Close, intense, high energy. It was good stuff. Average 18.1 million. 18.1 million. So that was the number for the men's game last night. You remember Iowa, South Carolina? Women? How big was Caitlin Clark? 18.9 million. 18.9. So it shows you the needle is Caitlin Clark. But a good night for the men's national championship. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not tonight, you didn't know that you knew about this college baseball game in New Jersey. Yeshiva University. Never heard of them. They're in New York. They've lost 99 straight games. They were taking on Lehman College today, who had lost 42 straight games in baseball. Somebody had to win today. Who won? Extra innings. Yeshiva University lost again 7-6. They've lost 100 straight games. Yeshiva University. Thanks for playing. Back here tomorrow on the Nate Brown Show. See ya.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is